SharePoint 2010 Training. Part 3. Overview of SharePoint Workspaces. By the end of this video, users will be able to identify the various parts of the main SharePoint interface, navigate through the various functions of the site, find the page editing tool, locate tools on the ribbon, explain what web parts are and how they add functionality to SharePoint sites, and find and access the Site Settings area. You'll notice that when you get into the SharePoint interface, one of the very first things that you'll see is that it has a lot of different pieces and parts to it. We're going to go over all of those pieces and parts in this video. Beginning with your navigation. On the left-hand side, you'll see that you have navigation links so that you can get to all of the various places in your site that you might want to go to. This includes the calendar, discussion boards, your Dropbox, your submitted assignments, things that you have given back to the students for review, shared documents, videos, pictures, wikis, surveys, and more. In this pane right here, you'll see that this is where a lot of your content goes. You will have your announcements populated right here. You'll have items on the calendar that will show up. You'll also have a running list of the discussion items that you have assigned to students. Up here, you'll find that you have links, there are tools, and there are additional instructions on how to set up your site. You'll notice above this pane that you have the ability to search for things. You can change it from English to Spanish. You also can use this link up here in order to gain access to some options, including the ability to log out. And then finally, up here, you have a toolbar. So those are the different pieces and parts that we're going to be using as we go through this video series. SharePoint is fairly user-friendly when it comes to adding new content. In order to add announcements, you click on Add a New Announcement. In order to add items to the calendar, you just click on Add New Event. If you want to add a new discussion for your students, you click Add New Discussion. We'll be getting into exactly how you do that a little bit later on, but you'll notice that they try to make it easy for you to do some things, like adding in the kinds of things that you would want to use on a regular basis. To work with this page right here, one of the things that you want to do is learn how to edit this pane right here. And the way that you do that is you go up top and you click on this little button right here where it says Edit. What that does is that gives you the ability to edit all of the content that shows up in this pane. You'll notice that it is loading, and what we're going to see is we're going to see a ribbon that's going to show up that gives us lots of options. If we want to change the text here, all that we have to do is highlight what we want to change, type, and we can use the formatting up here in order to modify our type. You can also insert things, you can put in videos, you can put in tables, although I would caution you with doing it this way because there are things that are called web parts. Now, we'll get into web parts in a little bit, but just know that this is where you get into being able to work with the different kinds of layouts, the different kinds of tools that you have available to you. You can use any of your text editing tools right here. You can change alignment. You can put in numbered lists. You can add in additional styles. You can do a spelling check on your page. You can also add in HTML code if you are an advanced user. Please don't mess around with the HTML code until you know what you're doing with it, though, as it's very easy for you to put in something that can cause problems for your site. So those are all tools that you can use up here. Now you can save any changes that you've made. You can undo any changes that you might have made as well. So I'm going to undo back so that everything on my site looks like yours. And you can even insert additional things like web parts, and you can put in links and you can upload files. Now, again, be careful about what you add to this at the beginning while you're learning how to edit, okay? Now, speaking of web parts, if we wanted to put in a web part, we can go up to where it says insert and we can put in a web part. Now, if you don't know what a web part is, a web part, it's kind of like a widget. If you don't know what a widget is, what it does is it allows you to have a specific type of function in a specific place on your page. So, for instance, we could put in a calendar. That calendar would show up as its own standalone piece right here. And then when we went in to edit it, we would just edit the calendar. We wouldn't have to edit the rest of the page in order to make changes. There are all sorts of different kinds of web parts that are in here. Everything from web parts that help you with media, to being able to put in your own forms, to being able to put in RSS feeds. For those of you that don't know what an RSS feed, it's a real simple syndication feed, which means that you can subscribe to blogs and have it automatically update within the site. So in short, what a web part is it's a way for you to get a certain piece of functionality for your site and put it onto your page, either for the benefit of you or for the benefit of your students. Now, that having been said, don't get web part crazy, because you do only have a certain amount of space on this main page. You can get it so that you can scroll down and down and down, but eventually what's going to happen if you do that is that things that you post will tend to get lost. So just be careful about how many web parts you end up putting in. You now know how to access the editing tools for this specific page. The same editing tools, the same kind of process is what you would do if you wanted to edit pages at other places in the site. Whatever page you're on, you simply go up and you find the edit tool right here. Now, if you want to make a site-wide change, if there are certain site-wide settings that you would like to go in and try to modify, there's also, where it says Site Actions up here, a menu that you can get that drops down. You can also get to the edit page in order to edit the specific page that you're on, but you can also go down to this function right here where it says Site Settings. Site settings will give you control over most aspects of the site that you're working with. So that can be a very powerful way for you to customize this experience. Now, we're going to go in and we're going to make some minor site changes, but before you get into managing whole-scale site changes, you might want to talk with the local trainer in your building. You can even call downtown to find out if there's some way for you to change something that you think that you would like to change on your website, as there will be some help available through the help desk. In order to get out of this, you would just click on the back button and that would take you back. Now, if you get lost, let's say that you had done a couple of different things in here and you got to a place and you didn't know exactly where you were and you would like to get back to your home page, you just simply go up here to where this folder is and you can go down to where your name shows up, click on that, and that will take you back to the home page of your site. So, tools are available up on top. Your logout function is over here. You have the ability to search within your site for content. All of the content that you put in will be available in a pane like this, and you have a navigation bar over here on the left-hand side. And those are the general pieces of the SharePoint workflow. You want to make sure that you have a solid grasp of where those things are in order to be able to change the functionality, change the content on your site, and make it something that is pleasing for both you and your students.